What is up, everyone? It is Midwest Raider game update. So, thanks for joining me. If you want to talk some Raiders football, this is the place to get that done. I just want to thank everyone for tuning in, watching, all that kind of stuff. Please like, subscribe, and share if you're interested in some Raiders content, which I'll be bringing you today. And hopefully I'll be having some guest people, Raider fans like me, and we'll try to put a chat together as well. So coming up in the future, hopefully I can get that done and we can talk some Raiders football some more with some various people and different opinions. So I'm working on that all. First, I got to just start building my subscribers. So let's do it, Raider Nation. Follow Midwest Raider game update, and I'll bring you as much as I can as soon as we get going here. But I just want to get into some content. I've been kind of calling it, guys. I do make videos. I usually just do ones on each game as the season progresses, talk about transactions, maybe a little bit on the draft, but I don't get into that too crazy because it is just a lot of hype and people just say whatever they want, and it's just basically speculation the whole time. So I'm not quite into that, but I definitely like to talk football. So I'll get into it a little bit, but I definitely have a lot of news coming at you today, and let's get into it. So thank you so much for tuning in to Midwest Raider game update. Like, subscribe, and share, and let's get into today's news. So first of all, I haven't been on for a while, so I had to make a video because there's so much content going on right now. So let's get into Derek Carr first. Just want to say I was always a Derek Carr fan. He did a lot of good things for the Raiders, and it was nice to have that quarterback that was just reliable. And we weren't going through quarterbacks every year like we have been in the past. So I just want to say thank you, Derek Carr, for what you did for the Raiders, for being the person that you are. You are a great person at heart, very Christian and all that good stuff. Just a good role model for anybody looking up to an NFL player. So thank you, Derek Carr. And now Derek Carr is a New Orleans Saint. Hooking back up with Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen was there with the Raiders when they drafted Derek Carr many years ago, and so they get to reunite, get to work together. I think he's going to do pretty stellar with the Saints. The Saints have a lot going for him right now, a defense which he's never had before. So that combination could lead him to decent places. And so good luck to Derek Carr with the Saints, and I'm sure they're going to be loving it here pretty soon. Other than that news, enough with that. Let's get into the greatest news right here that I was super surprised at, was picking up Jimmy Garoppolo. I was surprised in the sense that I knew we were going for quarterbacks and quarterbacks were starting to run out. And I kind of called it. I knew Josh McDaniels has had Garoppolo before in his system for 3 years, so they're meeting back up, and so they're going to be able to kick things off right away. So I knew it was going to come down to him. I either knew that we're going to make a splash with like Aaron Rodgers. I wasn't ever into the Brady thing. Didn't want Brady at all, so I'm glad he retired, and so good luck to him. But Garoppolo, I definitely knew that we were probably leaning that way just because of the McDaniels-Garoppolo connection. He's a veteran quarterback. I don't think he's an upgrade, honestly. I think Derek Carr and him are pretty equal. I think Derek Carr is almost a little bit better just from a standpoint that he's reliable and he's not as injury prone as Garoppolo is. Now, from a sense of wins, yes, Garoppolo will take that. I think he has like 40 from a starting perspective. He's like 40-17, so he has a lot of wins. But then at the same time, he's been with a great team, great defense. Things like that with the Patriots and with San Francisco in his years. So he's really had a team behind him, and I agree with most people that it comes from a win perspective. Wins come from a good team, not from an individual. So I don't know if I can keep that as his win stats as he's carrying the team. I don't think Jimmy is really that type of player. He's not like the person that you think came in really clutch, as from some Super Bowl passes in the past. But he's definitely a player that can manage the team if you have a great team behind him. So right now we have a great team offensively, but we're starting to lose those pieces because people are leaving. And I think that's a trust issue with McDaniels. Nobody trusts McDaniels, including me. I'm a fan, and I think there's fans out there that also don't agree with what McDaniels is doing. And that's just because he hasn't quite been honest with us. From perspectives of, he came to the team, he said, we're win now, we're not rebuilding, we're going to take the players we can, we're going to compete as hard as we can, and we're going to try to make a run for that Super Bowl, is what they told us when he first came. After this year, you knew that he wasn't trying to win because he benched Derek Carr when we had a chance. It was a very slim chance, but we had a chance to make the playoffs. But he put in the backup, benches Carr, even though they still, and you can say it was because we wanted to save the $40 million or whatever, they still let him play in the Pro Bowl, and if he would have hurt himself in the Pro Bowl with flag football, he still could have claimed being injured, and we still would have been on the hook for $40 million. So you can't really give me that lame excuse. We just didn't want to win. We were saving ourselves for the draft, and we were going for McDaniels wanted to pick his players. He's always wanted to pick his players. So when you came to the Raiders, just tell us, we're going to rebuild this team. I'm going to look for my players, and that's what we're going to do. And so he pretty much came up and straight lied to the Raider Nation. You know, how do you trust a coach like that? He's also probably lied to his own players. Used Derek Carr to get Devontae here. Now Carr is gone, benches Carr. I think they did Carr very dirty. And, you know, I'm glad Carr is where he's at. Sucks for us because now we don't have that reliable quarterback that is a game manager and can take us as far as if he could have a defense. So hopefully that's our plan, is to get some defense. But now you're seeing Raider players unhappy. They're leaving. I think Darren Waller's situation, where Darren Waller is now going to the New York Giants. He got a really big contract, and he's going to go to the New York Giants. And so I heard that like a backstory that it had to do something with some of the Raiders releasing some of his stuff about him getting married and him not being able to trust that. And, you know, that was led to some bad feelings. And he's like, get me out of here. I need to be traded. So now Darren Waller was traded. Also, you saw he probably wasn't happy last year, as they said he was injured most of the year. Another thing coming with Renfro. Is Renfro going to stay with the Raiders? I don't think so. I think all these players are leaving because they do not trust Josh McDaniels. And Josh McDaniels is doing his own thing. He's going to build his own way. Ziegler, too. They're just doing things kind of dirty. And that's the true Patriot way, which I don't ever think that Patriot way is going to work with the Raiders. So until we get rid of Josh McDaniels, I just got to follow the team and go with it. But I don't think it's going to work. And that's just my call. Maybe if we switch it around this year and some of his choices and some of his decisions start making sense to me with some of his picks, we'll see. I'm a fan of the Raiders, so I'm going to root for the Raiders no matter who we have. And so, you know, you just got to go with it. It is what it is, and you got to go with it. We don't have any choice. We're stuck with McDaniels. Okay? Yes, if we start winning, I'll be like, okay, he started to win. But I'm not going to be super excited for him. I'll be super excited for the players that are putting it together. Talk about that. Like I said, I don't think Devontae is going to be happy about Garofalo coming. Like I said, I think that's a lateral exchange. I don't think it's any players get upgraded as a player. I don't think it's an upgrade. I just think it's another player coming in to play quarterback, kind of like an Alex Smith that can come in and game manage and hopefully put together whatever McDaniels is coaching. That is what it is. Like I said, we're losing Darren Waller. I think that's a huge loss. You're bringing in this player, you want the best players for him to be successful, but yet you're getting rid of some of our best players. We had to franchise tag Josh Jacobs, which is incredibly dumb because I heard he wasn't too happy with that. I heard rumors that he unfollowed the Raiders, which I don't blame him. They just need to pay him a 3-year, 2-year, 3-year contract. Just give it to him. Let him come in and do his thing. Now, probably the problem is, I noticed most of the players they've been picking up, they've been getting them on really friendly contracts where, they guarantee a little money up front first, and then they get their big payoffs later, which is smart by McDaniels because he knows he probably ain't going to keep them that long. So he's going to say, we're getting them for the cheap now, and then we'll cut them before we have to pay them that big money. Hopefully some of those players are a little smarter, and they're putting some of those clauses in there. But we'll see what's going to happen. So from a management perspective, I guess from the owner slash GM perspective, they're doing friendly contracts for the Raiders financially, which is smart. I don't trust what they're telling the players. And also from what he told us, he said, Derek Carr took it really good when I benched him. Evidently, that wasn't the case because he never came back. So, I just don't trust what McDaniel says. Anything he says, I don't believe it. I just hope that he can put some wins together for the Raiders this year. Rid of Waller. We did get a third-round draft pick from the New York Giants for Waller, which is great. Just adds more draft picks. Hopefully, we're going to go really defense-heavy, and hopefully some of these players can come and contribute right away that we pick defensively. But also, I know we're going to have some drama with Jacobs. I think something's going to happen with that, and we're not going to get the best results out of Jacobs being franchise tagged. You never see good results from that. And also, really concerned about Renfrow. I love Renfrow, and I hope he stays with the team. But like I said, it's a mass exodus of players that I don't think they trust McDaniels, and some are leaving. So it wouldn't be crazy to me if we see Renfrow leave the Raiders. If we see some Jacobs holding out, be crazy to me as well. And even Devontae, I could see some drama happening with Devontae. Now he's under contract and all that good stuff, but we'll see what happens. But I'm really concerned about that. I think there's a big trust factor. And let me know what you guys think, Raider Nation. So also, we picked up Jacoby Myers from the Patriots. Now I know that's another McDaniels guy. We paid him some decent money too, 3 years, $33 million. Heavy on the back end, not so heavy on the front. I think we're only on the hook for like $7 million on the first half of it, and then it gets bigger on the back half. But he's a decent receiver, but he is the receiver that passed it to Chandler Jones, who scored the touchdown when we beat the Patriots. So kind of funny that we end up picking him up. We found out that he is a true Raiders player since he passed it to Chandler Jones and we scored that game. So that's kind of funny. But why are we picking up receivers? We have Devontae Adams. Maybe they're trying to help. I guess we're not going to keep Hollins or Cole. So I guess they're kind of filling in that role too. Also picking up people that are familiar with Daniels. Daniels is getting his guys. We are rebuilding. Like I said, if McDaniels would have just come out and say this in the first place, it's going to take a couple years, but we're going to rebuild this team slowly but surely. That's fine. You're not lying to us. You're going to rebuild. You're going to get the players you want. That's fine, but that's not what he said, and that's not what he's been doing, and he's secretly been doing weird stuff, benching Carr. We don't have Stidham anymore. That's another news here. Stidham has signed a $10 million contract with Denver, so Jarrett Stidham, that guy you wanted to test and see how he was going to do at the end of the season, even though you played with him for a year and you knew who he was, that's what you told us. We want to see what he has. Why don't we see what Chase Grabbers has, the rookie that we had? Why don't we see what he has instead? Which is the only quarterback we actually retained and still have at the current moment besides, Garofalo. So crazy. It's crazy. So Stidham's gone. He's going to play for Denver, a division rival, and be behind Wilson. So we'll see what happens there. Pretty crazy news there. We have picked up a linebacker from the Steelers, Robert Spillane. From the Steelers, we gave him a $4 million. Actually, it's like a $9 million contract, but like I said, it's light on the front end is the way they've been doing it. We also re-signed Abdullah, which I'm okay with. I think he has a lot of insight. He definitely is a veteran, knows how to do some things, been good on returns, also been really good with, third down back. He's been really key. He had some key plays. He only had one touchdown last year, but I was really happy to see him get that touchdown. I'm a Midwest fan, and he's from Nebraska, so pretty cool that we retained him. I'm okay with that, and I still think he still has some tread on the tires to get it done next year. So we got rid of Waller. Are we going to retain Foster Monroe? I hope we do. He has shown some insight. He's had some positives and negatives. He's dropped some few balls, those types of things. But I think he's a good blocker, and I think he does have positive traits, kind of like Waller, as more of a receiving tight end, and I think we should retain him. Hopefully we can get something done with him and keep Foster because he is a free agent at the moment, and so hopefully we can get something done with them. Other than that, some other players that I hope we retain is Rock Ya-Sin. He played really good for us, and I don't think anybody can tell me any different because you didn't hear his name a lot because the quarterbacks weren't throwing his side a lot because he was locking down his areas. He played pretty good. I mean, there was a few times we had some probably, some passes here and there, but for the most part, he played very well and really locked down his area. So I hope we can figure something out with Rock and keep him as a cornerback. I think he's a good addition to that defense. Key players that we're still building with is like Nate Hobbs, Max Crosby, Divine Diablo, and we still retain that quarterback from California, Chase Garbers. We're still building this team. It's still not enough, and I think we're going to be losing more offensive weapons like Renfro. Maybe Devontae could have some drama with Jacobs. Tell me what you all think about that and if you think it's possible, but I really do. So far, I called it. I said that McDaniels was going to get Garoppolo. I've called that all the time. I said it's either going to go big, crazy with Rodgers or something like that, or we're going to get Garoppolo, bring him in, and then draft a quarterback. And I think we're definitely going to draft a quarterback. I just don't know if they're going to go up front with him or they're going to wait in the later rounds and pick somebody up on the DL creep. Of course, the top prospects right now that we're looking at is like Bryce Young from Alabama, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis. Those are all really possible picks in the first round, so I think we could pick one of those. I don't think they're all going to get swept up in the first 7 rounds. So, because there is some other needs from other teams, and all the teams at the top just don't need quarterbacks. The big ones that stand out to me, in my opinion, is Bryce Young and, of course, C.J. Stroud. But I really don't think he meets our criteria for what we need with McDaniels' way. So I think it would be tough to mix them with that. And then offense. The other two, Anthony Richardson and Will Levis, are really athletic people that are more projects. They're not the best quarterbacks, but they're definitely athletic enough to get things done. But I don't know how their IQ is for football to be able to get into Josh McDaniels, the Patriots type offense. So, they're going to be projects to work with. I don't really have an opinion on any of them. Any of those would probably be a good backup role type to see if we can get them learning and get them in the right spot to be prepared to be the number 1 quarterback. But it's such a gamble with quarterbacks, so it's going to be crazy. All right, just to wrap this video up, I just wanted to put one more scenario that if we don't draft a quarterback in the first round and we end up drafting something else, offensive lineman or some key defensive player, which I'm okay with. If we don't go quarterback and we go in the later rounds for a quarterback, one quarterback that I kind of just want to throw in there is Jake Haener from Fresno State. I think he could be like a Carr 2.0. He's kind of a run and gun type of player, Brent Favre-like, things that they said about Derek Carr back in the day. And I would really like to see, he did really good in the Senior Bowl, and if Jake Haener was an option in a later quarterback, I wouldn't mind, and I think it might be a decent pick for us. Give me your thoughts on that as well. Other than that, that's all I got for you today. Appreciate it. If some more crazy news comes out and more drama happens, I definitely want to bring it to you because I just think that's going to happen this year. We're going to see some drama, possibly with Devontae Adams, possibly with Josh Jacobs. Renfro could be leaving. Some of these decisions, I'm just kind of crazy. Why is it happening? I hope we pick up Foster, he's still a free agent. I hope we pick up Denzel Perryman again. I think he still has some tread and that he can still help this team as well. So I think it would be easier to pick up these guys than go look out free agency unless they're going to try to pick up all these people in the draft and pray that they pan out. So thank you so much for tuning in. It's been Midwest Raider Game Update. Please like, subscribe, and share. And like I said, hopefully I'll bring you some more content real soon as more stuff develops. So thank you so much. Talk to you later.